Guys, I just wanted to discuss some of the recent news that is evolving in the NFL. I'd say two of the big stories right now: Aaron Rodgers going on his, little darkness retreat, and then we do have Lamar Jackson in that whole situation where I actually think the Cleveland Browns have screwed the quarterback market with the deal that they gave Deshaun Watson, everything like that. But first, talking about Aaron Rodgers and looking at these different headlines, there's rumors. What is he going to do? Will he be traded? Will he retire? My theory on Aaron Rodgers is that because Tom Brady just retired, Rodgers is going to play at least another season, because if you're Aaron Rodgers and you really think about it, you don't want to go and be in the same retirement class as Brady and be completely overshadowed. So I would say Aaron Rodgers, he'll go have his darkness retreat. And listen, no one really knows what he's going to do, but he'll come out of that, and it does seem like he's done in Green Bay. And honestly, for the Packers, the most logical thing is trade him now, try and get the most value possible. Trading him is kind of weird because it's like, even if you're a team like Vegas who feels like a really good fit for him with Devontae Adams and stuff like that, would you really be willing to give up multiple first-round picks for a guy that could retire after next year? Would Aaron Rodgers commit to Vegas for 2 years? So there's a lot of stuff to wonder. It says, could Aaron Rodgers handle pressure from the New York media? Stuff like that is so useless. I mean, he's been playing quarterback for, 20 years. Come on. New York Jets news, Aaron Rodgers trade value, Lamar Jackson trade, Jets mock drafts. Aaron Rodgers is floating conspiracy theories about UFOs. Rodgers is the only starting point for Packers offseason. Kathy Griffin slams Aaron Rodgers over Epstein conspiracy. Really? We're bringing Kathy Griffin into this. Tiki Barber suggests Aaron Rodgers too sensitive. Aaron Rodgers. So really, we don't know what Aaron Rodgers is going to do, but I would say my prediction is I think he'll be playing next year and playing probably for Vegas. That makes the most sense. Also, the Jets are possibly interested in him. But this Lamar Jackson stuff is crazy. So, Lamar Jackson wins the MVP. It's unbelievable. Gets injured, and then gets injured again in a contract year. So right now, Lamar Jackson is looking at the deal that Deshaun Watson got, fully guaranteed, massive contract, and he's saying, you need to give me a fully guaranteed deal. I'm at least as good as Deshaun Watson. The Browns contract that they gave Deshaun Watson is very odd, that Deshaun Watson, with his situation already being on the commissioner's exempt list last year for the entire year, the Browns give up 3 first-round picks, so they're committed to Deshaun Watson. They're going to have to obviously extend him, but they give him a fully guaranteed contract, and it's kind of made the rest of the quarterback market crazy. And now the Ravens are in a spot to where they're like, Lamar Jackson is a mobile QB. He's also not that big. He can easily get injured. They don't want to commit a massive 5-year contract to Lamar Jackson. Let's say Lamar Jackson gets injured, another serious injury. That is a horrible contract. That's like an MLB level contract, because MLB contracts are fully guaranteed. And guys, if you don't know, MLB, it's just crazy with how it plays out. Like Miguel Cabrera, Joey Votto making $40 million at age 38. They have like negative wars. But yeah, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. But the Ravens, these are some interesting trades you can see with Houston. And quite honestly, if I'm the Houston Texans, I would not do this. You're giving up the number 2 overall pick, the number 12 overall pick, a 3rd rounder, and your 2024 1st and 2nd rounder. You're giving up all of your assets, and all you're getting back is Lamar Jackson, who is coming off 2 injuries. If you're the Ravens, Bryce Young does scare me a little bit. His build. I guess his build is similar to Lamar Jackson, but Lamar is way faster. So, I don't know. But the Ravens are in a spot to where If I was the Ravens, I would be really interested in Trey Lance. Now, San Francisco is not going to trade him because of the whole injury to Brock Purdy. I think Brock Purdy needs like Tommy John surgery or something. But to me, this would be a great trade for the Ravens. I would probably not draft Bryce Young. He needs to put on weight. He really needs to put on significant weight. And then this mock draft scenario with the Lions, I could see the Lions possibly trying to do this because they have a pretty good young built team. They can afford to give up picks. They've got 2 first-rounders that they can give up, and then the Ravens would draft C.J. Stroud, JSN, Parker Washington. They'd really get some receiver help, and then Christian Gonzalez. I'm personally not a big fan of Christian Gonzalez. And then this trade with the Atlanta Falcons. So I heard the Atlanta Falcons are very interested in trading possibly for Lamar Jackson. I wonder if Baltimore would be interested in Desmond Ridder. I mean, if you trade for Lamar Jackson, what do you do with Desmond Ridder? You might just, I don't even know. What is he, the backup then? Witherspoon, JSN, and Kancey, and you would have to somehow get a quarterback another way. So those are different trade scenarios. Just looking at other NFL news, I did see that Calvin Ridley is coming back. He is going to be on the Jaguars. I'll tell you what, the Atlanta Falcons got so screwed with that whole situation. Calvin Ridley gets, suspended an entire season for betting, and he's basically got no trade value. They end up trading him to Jacksonville for a 5th-round pick or something. So, yeah, I mean, if you're Jacksonville, you got to be loving life right now. Christian Kirk becomes your number 2 receiver. Calvin Ridley becomes your number 1. As long as Calvin Ridley's been working out, staying in shape, he is a solid number 1 receiver in the NFL. He had really good production with Atlanta. Believe he was a former first-round pick. I know a lot of people are saying he shouldn't have gotten suspended and stuff like that. But the NFL has to set a very hard line precedent, and I'm not relating this to all their other handlings on suspensions and stuff like that, like Deshaun Watson. But the NFL does have to set a very hard line precedent on being against players manipulating games through gambling. And I know people say, well, Calvin Ridley was betting on Atlanta to win. So he was betting for his team. It's not like he was throwing games, but it's just such a slippery slope. So, I mean, I can see what the NFL is doing there. You've got Sterling Shepard in the news. I guess he's a free agent now, the former Giants receiver. Derek Carr. I mean, what is Derek Carr doing? Who knows? Is there an update on Derek Carr? I know the Raiders, obviously the Raiders are going to release Derek Carr, otherwise they would have owed him $40 million. But it is funny that Derek Carr did not accept a trade because he didn't want to give the Raiders an extra 3rd-round pick, because apparently teams were willing to trade for Derek Carr, but he's pissed off at the Raiders. But listen, I give the Raiders credit. Derek Carr is just not good enough, and sometimes it's just a waste. You just got to move on. Commanders set to interview Eric Bieniemy on Thursday, so a lot of people very upset that Eric Bieniemy doesn't have a job. I can see both sides of it. Obviously people are going to be mad. They say the NFL has a problem with coaches and not hiring minority coaches and stuff like that. But you also have to admit, Eric Bieniemy has the easiest job probably in NFL history. Andy Reid is probably the best offensive play caller in football right now, and he's the offensive coordinator with Andy Reid, the best play caller in football. He's your head coach, and then you have the best quarterback in the NFL in Patrick Mahomes. I know people are like, Eric Bieniemy's won 2 Super Bowls. That's a little disingenuous when you've got that kind of talent, but I can see why people are mad. But the other thing I don't understand is people say this is a lateral move for Bieniemy. It's really not. This would be a chance for Bieniemy to call his own plays and get out from under Andy Reid's shadow. I know there's been interviews where Andy Reid has said, I don't call the plays and stuff like that. I just think he's being nice. Travis Kelce has said that Andy Reid calls the plays mainly. So how about this? Rex Ryan, a top candidate for Broncos defensive coordinator, and also Van Joseph. Van Joseph was a head coach. But Rex Ryan possibly leaving ESPN and going in there. Jalen Hurts apparently in the news. He wants a $50 million deal. Yeah, Jalen Hurts and his agent, they got to get a deal done this offseason. Jalen Hurts' stock will never be higher. And Philadelphia, oh my, that's a tough situation. I mean, if you're Philadelphia, it's like he had a decent year last year and now he breaks out as a franchise quarterback. In a perfect world, you would want him to prove it for another year. But with the way quarterback contracts are working and they keep getting higher and higher and the cap keeps going up and up, we've seen with the Patrick Mahomes deal where the Mahomes contract is becoming affordable because the Chiefs got it done early, and with the cap keep going up and up and up, Mahomes is going to be like the 6th or 7th highest paid quarterback in a year when Herbert gets his deal, when Lamar Jackson gets his deal. So it's crazy. Did Danny Shelton, of all people, sign with Kansas City? Isn't that just great? But yeah, so that's just kind of some of the news. Yeah, Danny Shelton signs a future contract with the Kansas City Chiefs. So I guess we'll see what happens with Aaron Rodgers and Lamar Jackson. I would say right now my prediction is Aaron Rodgers goes to Vegas. It would have to be some weird trade where Rodgers commits to playing at least the next 2 seasons. If he only commits to next year, if you're Vegas, are you willing to give up the number 7 overall pick for a guy who only will play maybe 1 season? I mean, this is like the 3rd straight year we've done this with Aaron Rodgers where he has to take like multiple months to decide on if he's retiring or not. So, I mean, who knows, but I would think Aaron Rodgers would continue playing. It just doesn't make sense, the timing of it, but I mean, I can't predict what Aaron Rodgers is going to do. He's completely unpredictable, so we'll see what happens. No one really knows. He's going on that darkness retreat. And then Lamar Jackson, what will Baltimore do? Because it seems like Baltimore has drawn a hard line. We're not giving you a fully guaranteed contract because we're worried about your health. We cannot commit $50 million per year that's fully guaranteed for the next 5 seasons. What if you suffer a catastrophic injury? Part of the reason Lamar Jackson's a really good quarterback is because of his mobility and his ability to be elusive in the pocket and stuff like that. So it really is a double-edged sword for Baltimore. I mean, he's a franchise quarterback. They don't grow on trees. He won an MVP like year 3. So I don't know. I mean, it'll be interesting to see what they do. I would say right now, I think they are going to try and be able to work out something with Lamar Jackson. It would just be shocking to see them trade him, but the only way you would trade him is if you had some other option in place. I mean, maybe you stick with Brett Hundley. I mean, he is a Pro Bowler. We have to remember he is a Pro Bowler. But, guys, that's going to do it for this video. Make sure you follow me on Twitter. Link to that's always in the description. I'm, of course, the Depressed Ginger. Thank you for watching.